Are the prizes for the best college team and the best runner-up college team. The only thing we indicated was that they should all be from a college, whichever college it might be. So, in first place, the team calling themselves Quiz Sir, Okay Sir. Aditya Kannan, Udbhav Krishnamani, and Nitish Kumar T. Are you here? Okay, when they come in, we can give them prizes. The team which came runner-up is calling themselves F27DA32, Ujjwal Kiran Das, Rohan Dharmadikari, and Advay Fadnis. Are you here? Please come. So we have a wonderful selection of books here, sponsored by Hachette. Pick one, okay? One per individual. Which one would you like?
Guys, don't fight. Just pick. No, one per individual.
One per individual. I'm not asking you to read one book all amongst yourselves. Okay.
Okay. Okay. And one more. That's it.
Okay, please come up on stage and we'll take a photograph and display your books. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for F27DA32, the runner-up college team. Come here and stand. Here you go. Thank you. Thank you. We also have, which books did you pick? Let me see. Okay. This one is Stephen King, Billy Summers. Andrzej Sapkowski. Which book is this? The Witcher, yes. And of course, the brilliant career of Roger Federer, The Master. Here you go. Nice picks, nice picks. Thank you, Hachette, for that. I guess Quiz Sir, Okay Sir is not yet here, so we shall hold on to their prizes. They are mixed college teams, okay? So these are three options for the most innovative or the funny team name. So Manav T, Sanjay, and Vishweshwaran have scored actually 15 points. Good for you. Although very deprecatingly, they call themselves single digit. Okay, so that's one. Applause for those of you who like that name. Mohan, Sajit, and Ravi call themselves from Abacus to Smartacus. Okay. And Ashwin Prabhu, Karthik, and Srinivasan call themselves ex-bankers, we lost interest. Okay, so going by applausometer, we give the prize to ex-bankers, we lost interest. Are you here? They lost interest. Come up quickly here, come up, pick a book before you lose interest. Which one do you want to pick? Come up. Okay. Come up on stage. Come up on stage.
Where is the third grade? No, CK has gone back. Take one for him also. Pick one for him.
Please come up, both of you. So round of applause to best team name. Actually, they scored 25.5, which is very good. Come up here. And the book you have chosen is short. It says More World History in 3 points each by Zach Sangeet. And you have picked, why don't you show it to them? What does it say? Leaders, politicians, and citizens, 50 figures who influenced India's politics.
For a third member.
And for the third member, Playing It My Way by Sachin Tendulkar. Okay, good for you. Thank you. Please stand here. Let's take a little quick shot for our cameras. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now coming to the important bit, which is a couple of honorary mentions I should say here. So these are the teams who just missed out. Rahul Kotalgi, Mario Fernando, and Amrit Chetia, calling themselves Aardvarks, just missed. Round of applause to them. Peter Panchali, Sachin Deshpande, Prithvish Datta, and Debanjan Bose. And AIQMK, Ramesh, Piyush, and Ani, just missed on 1 point or maybe even on the tie breaks. But here are our final 8 for this quiz, with the top score, but in no particular order. Let me put it in alphabetical order, and then I'll get back to you, more or less. Or in some random order will be good, otherwise so that no one knows anything. Right, you go. But I would like to call this team first, which is Remembrance of Things Fast, Kiran, Manu, and Pritham, who have top scored in this quiz with 37 points. So please come up and take a seat. You can pick whichever seat you want to. Can we have Raju up here so that you can keep scores and, yeah. Just enter it as ROTF. Guys, where do you want to sit down? Team 8, okay. Playing it safe. I'm just keeping it here as a reference, okay? Right. Let's call a couple of other names. Ananya Deb, Aditya Gadre, and Suraj, Zulfikar A. Fidel. And they have picked table 1. Okay, good for you. Yeah. Our third finalists, Captain Chandrakant, VR, and Rishi, CIDs from Kerala.
Hey, take 2 now. Next 2, Suraj now. Hey, Suraj is coming next to you, man.
Our next finalist, Anushtup Datta, P.S. Rajagopal, and Tejasvi Udupa. Maris like this only. Normally, Raju keeps scores for us, so we had to find another scorekeeper now. Okay. Where would you like to sit? 7. Okay.
What's your team name?
Can you put this under your mic there so that I can see? Just leave it there under the wire. Just keep this under the wire there. So I just know what it is, yeah. Our next finalist, Arun Hiragange, Gopal Kidau, and Ravi Mundoli, calling themselves Fraud Mallus. Our next finalists from Bombay, all the way here for this quiz. Please welcome Rajiv, Sumant, and Srinath, the traveling Pillsburys.
4, huh? Hey, what's your team name?
4.
Fraud Mallus.
Yes. Our next team, CR, Goch, and Varun, BMQT. That's the name. BMQJ, yeah, that's what I thought it should be. Yeah.
Sumant, which team? 5, huh? What's your team called? Traveling Pillsbury. All team. Yeah, we are everywhere. Team 5, right? Okay.
And our last team to enter this final, but not the lowest score, Samant, JK, and Swami, QED.
Which team, Rajiv? What's your team called? BMQ, huh? BMQJ.
Just give it, put it under the mic, no?
Table C. BMQJ. And table 3, right?
Just put it under that mic. Put it under that mic there.
QED is team 6.
Pardon?
Just read out the team names. 1 is Zulfikar, 2 is CIDs from Kerala, 3 it is BMQJ, 4 is Prawn Mallus, 5 is placeholder traveling Pillsbury,
Thank you and welcome to the final of Smartacus Senior 2022, brought to you by the Hindustan Times HT School and Hachette in association with the Quiz Foundation of India in Chennai. It's wonderful to see a nice, well-filled hall. I'm not saying full, but a well-filled hall. And I hope you enjoy this final. Thank you for coming and taking part in this preliminary round and staying to watch the finals. And we have a whole lot of audience prizes as well. I hope you enjoy that. But right now, to the business of starting the quiz finals. The format of this final is essentially 30 questions in two halves, first half going anti-clockwise, the second anti-clockwise. But in between these, we are going to have a couple of written rounds with answers to the audience as well. So please do stay back and enjoy that. Next slide, please. So the first is a written round, and it's called a font by any other name. There are 9 answers that you have to give. Each is worth 4 points, and therefore a total of 36 points is at play. But in case anyone gets a full house, an extra 4 will take you to 40. And what does this round mean? Let's take a look at the next slide. So this is the name of the quiz, and this is the name of the quiz in a slightly different way. And you have to identify, Ramana, each of these. What is the source, or where is each of these taken from? Okay? So audience, be ready. Let them all finish, and then I'll come to you one by one. So I'll give you about 60 seconds to fill this in. Vinit, will you tell me when about a minute is over, and then... 'Shall we give another 30 seconds? Good. So at the end of 30 seconds, I'd like you to exchange papers and 10 seconds left. And time up. Thank you, Vinid. Time up. Please exchange 1 and 4, 2 and 3, 5 and 8, and 6 and 7. Right, audience. Can we have a little more light in the audience? Is it the maximum light, audience? Hall light, koncham on pannalam. Right, so let's start with, can we go to the next slide, please? The answers, right? The first one, just open that. Yep, this Superman. Please give our young man here for that super answer. Stand up, stand, catch. Right, there you go. That was easy to start with. That's 4 points each, okay? The next one. Anyone? Yes? Not Meru. Not Minolta. I'll tell you it's something from the world of music and entertainment. Motown Records is right. Motown Records. Venki there answering that. Well done. That's Motown Records. The next one, yes. Albrecht Dürer, the artist. That's well done. This is his logo type, which you can see there. This is a very famous self-portrait as Jesus Christ. So that's Albrecht Dürer. This one is, yes, the lady in the middle. Rajasthan Royals. Rajasthan Royals. What did you write? Sunrisers. Lots of Rolls Royces. Okay, what tea is this? Tropicana. Tropicana is right. And let's try someone this side. Yes. Asian Paints. Please give the chocolate there. Ramana is throwing it all over the place. Okay. Okay, the next one, the U. Oh, this one. Comedy Central is right. Well done. It's not copy left. Yeah, it's not copy left. The next one, yes? UNESCO. Yes. UNESCO. That is the UNESCO. And the last one, Sega. Sega is right. Sega is right. So let's see our first points up for this evening, and let's see what happened. Team 1 got 20 points. Team 2, 24 points. Team 3, 28 points. Team 4, 16 points. Team 5, 24 points. Team 6.
No, they didn't get it.
How many did you get? 24. How many bonus for all correct? And then he tells me his score is 24. Right. Team 7, 20 points. And Team 8, also on 20 points. Audience, full house. Right. Okay, let's start with round 1, which is a general round. We are going to have 10 questions on infinite bounds, plus 10, no negative, part points are available. Now, just let me explain to you that in each of these sets of 10 questions, you're all allowed 1 pounce on the buzzer. Once you exhaust that pounce, whether right or wrong, keep your hands off the buzzer for the 10-question set, okay? Here comes the first proper question of the quiz. You want to test the buzzer? Okay. Team 1. Okay, let's reset the buzzer.
Yeah.
Team 2. Good. Team 3. Yes. Good. Team 5. 6. 7. All good. Okay. Yes. Pardon? On pounds, it is plus 10 for an all correct answer and minus 5 for part answers or a completely wrong answer. Okay?
There is next on pounds.
There is a negative. There is a negative. Minus 5. Okay? All set? Here's the first question of the quiz coming to Team 1, Zulfikar A. Fidel. As part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, the government has decided to decorate the historic buildings of the country with tricolor lights. But that rule will not apply to the Taj Mahal. Now, the first time when all this lighting happened was as part of some celebrations about 77 years ago. The last time was for a certain event held on 27th March 1997, and I'll play you some music from that. What happened in 1997 that caused the ban on lighting and events at the Taj? Okay? So the points are as follows. I'm going to give 3 points for each of those first 2 parts and 4 points for the last part. Okay? So 3 plus 3 plus 4, this is the music. Ignore the video, visual part of it. Just listen to the music. Okay? No one's bouncing, so it's all yours, team 1. Can you put on the mic? Is it on? It's on, yes.
So we'll say the celebration 77 years ago was essentially the end of the Second World War.
3 points.
The 1997 event is Yanni's concert at the Taj.
Another 3 points.
And I think as part of the concert, because they were doing all these sound and light shows and moving equipment around, it caused some cracks and things like that on the structure, which is why they said no more performances, no lighting events, etc.
And that will pass.
Basically, because of all the lighting, a lot of insects, etc., were attracted. And I think their secretions, dead bodies, etc., caused a lot of damage to the Taj. So as a result, they just stopped doing lighting, etc.
Is the perfect answer there. That's the remaining 4 points to you. So this was the concert by Yanni in 1977 at the Taj. So the first time was by the British following World War II, and all these insects were attracted to the light and they died there and they created a whole lot of problem as far as the discoloration of the Taj was concerned. Nice answering there by team 1 and 2, split the points amongst themselves. Next question going to team 3. Mangrove forests are critical to the preservation of coastal zones around the world. To facilitate this, the trees have a complex system of roots. What is the name of the kind of root that you're going to see in the visual, in that it helps oxygen intake and is better known to us from a certain activity? That's 5 points. The second part is, what explains the distinctive appearance of the leaves of some mangroves? And I'll show you a picture of that as a second visual. And you have to tell me, why does that happen? No part points there, another 5 points for that. Okay, here are the pictures. So you can see 2 sets of visuals. The first is a set of 3 pictures. Take a look at the pictures. Let's hold on to that. We'll hold on that. And now go back to the text. "30 seconds to discuss, and we'll come with the answers." You want to see the visual? Okay. No. Incidentally, the numbers in blue in italics are the points. Okay? Yes. Yes. The number indicated in blue in the text after the question is in italics is the points. Okay, not the number of letters in the answer. We'll go back to the text, please. We have with us Quiz Sir, okay sir, which is the best college team. Please come up on stage. We missed you a little earlier. Aditya, Udbhav, and Nitish, why don't you come and pick up one book from this? You can't take the first, second, third prizes of the quiz, so one book each, and then come up on stage, okay? So we'll take a pick. Come, no browsing, come. This is a leisurely browse here and hoping to read a bit of the book as well. Okay, I think we should make it a lucky dip. Come up here and please give our very discerning book pickers a round of applause. Which college are you from? VIT, Chennai, and MCC. And we'll take a little pick here for the cameras and our live stream as well. Thank you. enjoy the rest of the quiz. And we'll get back to our quiz. Yes, team 3, a lot of time there. Go ahead. Text, back to the text.
So we'll say the name of this kind of route is a snorkel route.
Is right, 5 points. Good, snorkel route.
And the distinctive appearance is because of...
Now let's move to the picture so that it's, yeah, explain. What are you seeing? And
so mangrove forests are in like coastal areas with salt water. So this is the trees expelling the salt, which then,
is the perfect answer. Well done. This is actually salt crystals on leaves of trees. In fact, these trees' leaves, if you look at that little pathology kind of photograph there, they are the sweat glands on the leaves of these trees. And 90% of the salt water is removed by the tree, and that's how it converts salt water into almost fresh water. Okay? So amazing mangroves. We had a question on mangroves. A lot of news about the Ramsar sites in India, so that's why this question is here. Brilliant answering, a full 10 points to Team 3. Team 4, your question. In 2020, the Svalbard Global Seed Vault in the Arctic reached the milestone of having 1 million varieties stored in its deep freeze. While it is constructed 130 meters into solid rock to take advantage of the permafrost, what other doomsday scenario does this storage level anticipate that is also a popular movie, disaster movie trope? Okay? The second part is, what first resulted in 2015 based on a request by the International Center for Agricultural Research in Dry Areas called ICARDA, now headquartered in Beirut. Okay? So team 1 has ventured a bounce. Okay. Okay. Yep. So team 1 has tried out their first of the bounces in this buzzer. Yes. Second answer first.
So the second part we'll say that because of the civil war in Syria and Lebanon and all that, they had to open the vault again, so much earlier than they anticipated.
That is right. It is the first withdrawal made from the seed vault. Yes. 5 points.
Meteorite and asteroid strikes as the doomsday scenario.
Is not the answer. So I'm sorry, Team 1, you got that part wrong, so -5 to you. Team 5.
Okay. The doomsday scenario is that there are all kinds of microorganisms in the permafrost for which we don't have any treatments or cures. And if the permafrost dissolves or melts and turns into water, then all our water supply, or it could go into the atmosphere.
And which movie is that?
Contagion. And
well done, but that's not the answer. That's only what I asked you after this. Yes.
A nuclear apocalypse.
Not nuclear apocalypse.
That was our guess. Okay.
Change your guess.
Yeah.
It's on.
Okay. Instead of nuclear apocalypse, we'll just say it's that depth keeps it safe from any sort of radiation.
Nope. Team 8.
We'll say this is essentially to account for the trope where you see large icebergs, glaciers, etc., splitting off and drifting, melting and drifting out into the sea.
Okay. Nope. That was your pounce. Team 2.
We'll say flooding caused by global warming, basically. Yeah, basically.
Is the answer. That's what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. So if all the ice in the Arctic and the Antarctic melted and the water levels generally rise to about 70 meters or so, this is still 130 meters above sea level. So this will not get flooded. Okay? And incidentally, because of the Syrian civil war, the first withdrawal of seeds was made from Svalbard, and they have since returned it to the thing as well. So very nice answer there. So that gets you 5 points, and you got another 5 points for saying Svalbard. And -5 to them, of course, sorry. Team 3, your question. In 1853, Charles Gabriel Pravaz and Alexander Wood developed a hollow needle fine enough to pierce the skin. It was the subject of Wood's paper, a new method of treating neuralgia by the direct application of blank to the painful points. What was the first drug injected by the new needle using the Pravaz syringe, which you'll see on visual number 1? That's 4 points for that. In 1954, Becton, Dickinson and Company created the first mass-produced disposable glass syringe and needle, which you'll see in visual 2, for what medical milestone? Okay, team 5 has gone for their pounds. Okay. And team 5 get it right, they get plus 10, well done. Yeah, here are the visuals. The visuals will help actually if you look at it carefully, especially the second one. You can use the first one as a comparison. Right, now can we have the answer, team 3? Quick, quick, quick.
The medical milestone is the polio vaccine.
Okay.
And 6 points? No?
Decide.
And the neuralgia, the first drug is?
There is some discussion internally. Yes.
Aspirin.
Aspirin injected, no. That's going. So the polio vaccine part of it is correct. 5 points to you. 6 points, wow, okay.
We will say morphine for.
Morphine is what I was looking for treating, it had neuralgia and painful points, etc. So the chief drug at that time was morphine. And interestingly, this is Jonas Salk's polio vaccination program. If you looked at that syringe, Ramana, could you show that visual? You can see the needle is much shorter than the usual injection, and that was used for the polio vaccination. And that was the first time we had mass-produced disposable syringes made. It was specifically for the polio vaccine program. Lovely answering there from both 3 and 4, and they've split the points. Next question coming up to team 5. These are the title pages of the first 5 editions. In these, who is listed as the author of A? What is the common thread underlying authorship of the books in the sequence B? And what is special about the last in the series published in 1818? You see visuals on the next slide. So the questions, I'll read it out to you while you're looking at this picture. Who is listed as the author of A? So what in the book as it's printed? What is the common thread underlying the authorship of the sequence B, these 3 books? And what is special about the last in this sequence, which is published in 1818? And I'm looking for a nice answer as far as the last one is concerned, okay? What is special about that last in that sequence? You know, in this context, we're talking about all this. So how is the last one special? We can go to the pictures.
So we'll say the last one, that is Northanger Abbey.
So that's you're answering? Okay, pounce is closed. No one else is pouncing. So go ahead.
That was published posthumously for
Okay.
Jane Austen,
Under Jane Austen's actual
own name.
Okay.
Okay. So the first one, the Sense and Sensibility, would have been published under a pseudonym, a male pseudonym.
Okay.
And the 3B would be a female pseudonym, but not Jane Austen.
Okay, I'll pass it on to the next. I'm not saying anything. They said it is published posthumously under her own name.
Okay, so the first one, Sense and Sensibility, was published just as a lady. That was the author that was indicated on the.
Is right. So that gets you the first of the 3 points.
Okay. The third one was The third one was the only book in her career to be published under her own name.
Okay. And the sequence?
And the sequence is, can you just go back to the text, sorry, just to see the exact question.
What is the common thread underlying authorship of the books in that sequence?
Right.
I've put it in order, the way it was
Sorry?
years, in chronological order.
Okay.
I've put it like that
Right.
in the
okay.
visual.
Um,
You can go to the pictures.
oh, I see. Okay, okay.
You
By
see
the-
1811, 1813, 1814, 1816, and finally
Maybe
1818.
these three were all published as by the author of Sense and Sensibility. Basically, it's the referral back to the first one.
Okay, I will give you that part of it as well. That's another 3, which remains with the last one. Yes.
The last one was published, it was the only time that Jane Austen used her name and was published under her name in her lifetime.
Okay.
So by the time she had died, Pride and Prejudice, etc., had become famous. So they used, instead of by the author of Sense and Sensibility, they used by the author of
Pride and Prejudice. No, that's not the answer, I'm afraid. Team 1, any variations on all these guesses?
Basically, there was no name. It just said by the author of, it is as is, there is no name.
No name. Okay. Team 2?
So probably the only book by Jane Austen that was published without any, the author's name was not mentioned at all in any way.
Okay. Team 3?
So it was, as you can see there, presented as, with a biological notice of the author. Oh, it says biographical. Huh? So
biological notice, no, biographical
it's difficult
notice.
to read from
Okay.
it. So because of which it was, in fact, published without any attribution while having like a bio of the author inside the pages. So it's not credited outside, but it's credited inside with saying, this is so-and-so who's written all these books. And
That is what I was looking for. Yes, that's what. Let's go to the answers and then we'll figure out the points. So, Jane Austen's first book, because it was written by women, is just written by a lady. That's all. Okay, no names. The next book was Pride and Prejudice, which said by the author of Sense and Sensibility. The third one, Mansfield Park, said by the author of Pride and Prejudice. Emma said again by the author of Pride and Prejudice, because by then it had become famous. The last one was, this is a quote, beautiful quote written. She was still, incidentally, let me read that out for you. That's really interesting. The first words that the fortunate first readers of Northanger Abbey and Persuasion read at the end of 1817 were not by Jane Austen, but by her favorite brother Henry, her elder by 4 years. A biographical notice of the author dated December 13th, while preserving his own anonymity, describing himself as only the biographer and a relator of these events. He made his sister's identity public for the first time. You can see the name there, a brief account of Jane Austen. So this is the first time her name is mentioned, not in the cover again, but inside in the biography by her very beloved brother. Okay? So that's what I was looking for. So let's go and give points. Can we go to the text, please? Let me see that. I have the scores there. Yeah. Yep. So 6 points by, who got the 6 points? QED got 6 points. And the remaining 4 points went to Team 3. Varun Rajiv there doing his magic. Good for you. Next question, coming to Team 4. Computer scientist Kenneth Reagan's expertise in statistical analysis using large historical data makes him an expert in a certain sport. Reagan jokingly remarked on his role, "I'm not a vigilante by any means. I don't go out looking for trouble." For what specific role in which sport? The last couple of years has kept him relatively busy, extremely busy in fact, as much as work in single day as I had in a year previously. What is the reason for his increased workload? So what specific role in which sport? Okay, that's 5 points. So I need both parts for the 5 points. And the second one, the reason for his increased workload, another 5 points. Team 8 has buzzed and they want to pounce. So the first part is that, and the second part, could you explain that? No, why was that? Okay, 10 points to Team 8, well done. And all yours, Team 4. Yep, go ahead.
So his job is to catch cheating in poker and these, gambling card games. Obviously, the last couple of years, there are a lot more games because people have discovered that you can play it on, through Zoom or whatever online because of COVID. Okay. And that's why.
I'll give you 5 points for the second part, but I'm still looking for something in the first part.
This is the first part is chess.
Is right. Looking for the game that was not poker, it was chess. So 5 points to Team 4 and 5 points to Team 5, and let's have the answer up on the screen. So this is what Kenneth Reagan was doing, something familiar to a lot of us over the past couple of years. Fair play and cheating detection. He was extremely busy during, because it was all online for chess. And this guy actually, using a database here, he actually found this Latvian chess player was cheating. So you can see the Ethics Commission of FIDE has removed him from the title Grandmaster as well. Okay? So nice answering there by 4 and 5. Next question coming to Team 6. Audio. What connects the origins of these two bands? You can play it.
And what costumes shall the poor girl wear to all tomorrow's parties? A hand-me-down dress from who knows where to all tomorrow's parties. And where wish
Trucking, got my chips cashed in, keep trucking, like the Doo-Dog Man together, more or less in line, just keep trucking, home, home, home.
Arrows of neon and flashing marquees out on Main Street. Chicago, New York, Detroit, and it's all on the same street. A typical city involved in a typical daydream. Hang it up and see what tomorrow brings.
Okay, so let me clarify. What connects the origins of these, the names of these two bands? Okay. Team 4 has bounced. Okay. I was looking in the wrong direction for a bounce. Okay. That is not the answer, so -5. Yes.
We are going to say that they both take their names from old books, books of the dead, epics, religious epics.
Such
so
as?
the Grateful Dead takes its name from the Egyptian Book of the Dead.
And the other one is the
Possibly
Mahabharata.
also takes its name from another Egyptian
Nope,
book
it doesn't.
of the dead.
Book of the Dead, no.
The band names originate from two random words that they picked up by opening the dictionary twice.
Nope, that's not what connects them. The specific connection which I'm looking for. Do you want to make another try?
specifically the
Because- wait a
specifically
minute.
the-
Do you want to make another attempt on your answer? Because that might be right as well, which is what you've written. But would you like to let me be fair and give you another chance? Because there's something that connects the names, the origins of the names of these two bands. Hmm. No, you can give me another answer if you want to. I'm sorry, just wait a minute. Okay, I'll pass you. We'll stay with the -5. Yes.
Specifically the Funk and Wagner.
Pardon?
A specific book that they opened was Funk and Wagner.
No. The specific book they got their names from. No.
So let's say both these refer to Hades or the underworld.
No, they don't. Team 1.
So I think we'll stick with the fact that they basically found 2 random words. We say the second one was the Oxford Dictionary, which is what the Grateful Dead did. The first one was the Bible, which is where
Okay. That's not quite the answer what I'm looking for, at least not what's on my card. Team 2.
They probably named themselves after the kind of music they wanted to perform.
No. Team 3.
Well,
quickly.
We'll say both bands take their names from something to do with like funerals and burials and all of that. So the Grateful Dead is like the smiling corpse, and the Velvet Underground is like the lining of the coffin.
No, nothing so morbid. Team 5.
From works of Aldous Huxley.
Not from works of Aldous Huxley. Not Dadaism, yes? No? Perfect answer there. You come up right here. Since no one answered that, there's only one sole gentleman here. Do we have a mic here? Audience mic? So before you take your prize from here, I want you to give that answer. Just put on the mic. Give the answer. Oh, you put on the slide already, is it?
So
Slowly.
bands called the Warlocks. And
Yes.
They were both originally called the Warlocks and had to then change their name.
Perfect answer. So both were once called the Warlocks. So the Grateful Dead changed its name when they heard there was another band called the Warlocks. And the earlier band called the Warlocks, by the time it came to release their record, they changed the name to Velvet Underground. And that's the connection I was looking for. Yeah, it takes a book. One book. Yeah. I think we will remove the -5 from them because there might be a thing, so no negatives there for you. Okay? Just to be fair. Since no one answered that, who got that question?
They lose their pounds, right?
They lose the pounds, yes, unfortunately. But there are more opportunities coming up. Okay, Team 6. Team 6, where specifically would you find this work of art, and why is it on display here? There are about 30 works of a similar nature in display here, and some of the better ones are the Sleeping Hermaphrodite, the Black Marble Sleeping Cupid, the Portrait of Cicero, and the Altar of the Vico Magistri. Let's take a look at the picture. Okay. Where and why? Just one sec. Location. Okay, and why? Okay. 10 points to Team 3 for getting that, and QED.
So these are all works at the Uffizi Museum in Florence.
Okay.
And these works are three-dimensional versions of paintings in the museum to help blind or visually impaired people kind of feel what the painting might look like.
And which one is this?
This is The Birth of Venus by
This is The Birth of Venus. Well done. Perfect answer there. 6 points to you. So there is a tour at the Uffizi Gallery in Florence. It's for the visually impaired. You can see that there it's called Uffizi by Touch. And there are important pieces of sculpture, and of course the most famous, of course, is the painting Birth of Venus. So for blind people who cannot appreciate the Birth of Venus painting, they have a three-dimensional version right there next to it for you to touch and feel what it's all about. Okay? So that's a very thoughtful gesture by the Uffizi. A lot of other museums also have things similar to this. Nice answering there. 10 points to team 3 and 10 points to team 6. Question to team 7. This is a tanka of the Bodhisattva blank Sitapatra, the Tibetan goddess of the white umbrella who protects against evil supernatural beings. That's the visual number 1, which you will see. What is her full name, that is the blank part, which refers to her point of origin from Buddha's body? This particular tanka was painted by famed artist and sculptor Drungtok Kelsang Norbu. His outstanding and best-known creation is a sarang in 1913 that was ordered by the Dalai Lama, who even affixed his seal to this creation. I will show you a detail of the sarang, this particular sarang, on the next slide. So what is a sarang? Okay? 5 points for each. So that is a painting, the tanka. It's called Bodhisattva Sitapatra. She's supposed to originate from a point in Buddha's body, and that's the blank in the question. What is that? And what is a sarang? No one's bouncing, so it's all yours, team 6. The visual, okay, take a look. So this is one example of a sarang. It's not the full one, it's a detail from it. It's a detail, and I've blanked out a couple of things there. You can see the 2 black squares at the bottom. Okay, can we have your answer, please?
We'll say Sitatapatra came from Buddha's navel, so she's called maybe Nabijata Sitatapatra.
Okay.
And shrunk is essentially so prayers are written on a piece of paper kind of a thing and then put inside the japa thing.
What's inside the prayer wheel? No, nice try, good guessing, not the answer. Team 8, can go back to the text maybe. Yeah.
What did he say for the first part?
The first part from the navel. Okay.
So the second part we'll say is essentially it's a flag that the Dalai Lama wanted. To.
Okay.
And for the first part, yeah. So what is
first part?
Yeah, something like Kesha, from the hair Kesha.
Okay, not Kesha. Team 1.
So we'll say that a sarang is essentially like a prayer shawl. So it's a
prayer shawl, okay. And the first part?
Sagar Mata.
Sagar Mata, no? Team 2.
We'll say the second part, it's basically a sort of form of currency. Notes, currency notes, etc.
Okay.
And used in Tibet and all that. What is her full name? Maybe the point of origin is the nostril or something.
Nostril, okay. So the second part, I'll give you points for that, 5 points. It is actually the currency note of Tibet, okay? Tibet actually had a currency note, which is why the Dalai Lama's stamp is there. Yes. The first part?
Our guess is Lopa Mudra.
Not Lopamudra.
Kanchenjunga.
Not Kanchenjunga. Team 5?
Say she probably came from his eyes, so Nayanastha.
Nayana, okay.
Hastagiri.
Hasta?
Giri. Hasta hand.
No, not that. That was yours. Audience, anyone? Yes? No. Wonderful answer there. Please stand up. And Bhargav gave that answer. Lovely answer. So, all of you have seen images of the Buddha with a little bump on the top. That is a specific, that's not a head of hair, which is sometimes shown in the Greek versions of these sculptures. It is actually called the Ushnisha. It's supposed to maintain flames of power, knowledge, whatever it is. So it's called Ushnisa Sitatapatra because she arises from this center point of Buddha's head. And this happens to be the Tibetan currency note. It's called the srang. That's the full picture there. It's written 100 at the bottom. That's $100. So, and that's a couple of others which are designed by this gentleman. So that's his best known creation. Okay? So well done. Good answering there from the audience once again. Only one team got the currency note, which is team 2. 5 points for you. Well done. Question to team 3. Which specific aspect of a certain young man's look was recently appropriated by the Punjab Chief Minister and AAP cadres? It created controversy for it not being accurate, which is 3 points. In their defense, this inaccuracy was originated by an earlier Chief Minister when he commissioned an official painting by the artist Amar Singh in 1975. And in this context, what was this young man's most famous disguise to evade the British police when he entered the photography store of Ramnath at Kashmiri Gate, Delhi in 1929? So the points are 3, 4, and 3. This is the gentleman. This is the Chief Minister of Punjab. You can see something here, okay, which is inspired by. What you see in the visual here is an inspiration from a specific aspect of a certain young man's look. Okay? Right. So no one's bouncing. Go ahead.
Originated by which earlier chief minister?
Okay, so
yes.
See, the specific aspect is the yellow turban.
Okay.
Of Bhagat Singh.
Okay.
And his most.
That will give you 3 points.
His most famous disguise is when he shaved his beard and had a mustache and wearing a hat and all of that.
Another 3 points.
And the earlier chief minister is Singh.
You'll have to sing a little more specifically.
Zail Singh.
Zail Singh is what I was looking for. Well done. Well done. So this is Bhagat Singh, aged 20. Okay, he never wore a yellow turban in his life. Okay, he was an atheist. Okay, so that's a photograph of him aged 20. They decided to color this photograph. Zail Singh wanted it in color. And so they just painted a yellow turban. You know how the Rang De Basanti, the Basanti color is important for the Sikhs. So that's how Bhagat Singh acquired his yellow colored turban. Okay? And the last one was just before he went to bomb the Legislative Assembly. He took a disguise. He wore his felt hat and took his very last photograph taken by Ramnath in Kashmiri Gate. Couple of days later, he threw the bomb, arrested, and you all know what happened. That was the last photograph that you see of Bhagat Singh. His cadres actually managed to get that photograph from the photography store and spread it out. And that's how we remember him always. And these are the only 4 official photographs of Bhagat Singh. Okay? That's what it is. Age 11, 17, 20, and when he died at the age of 22. Nice answering there. Well done, Team 10. Team 3, you get a full 10 points. Yes. Team 4, your question.
End of round.
End of round? 10 questions done. So let's see what's happening next. You want to see the scores? Okay, let's take a quick look at the scores.
No, don't show the scores.
Don't show the scores. Are you embarrassed? Okay, right now, B and QJ in Team 3 is guessing their way and singing their way to 68 points. QED on 40, CID is on 38, but Traveling Pillsbury is on 39. Okay, and then the others a little behind. Still early days, but good showing there. Varun Rajiv sitting in the center. Okay, the next round is a written round with questions going to the audience at the end of this round. Okay, 3 written questions. Normally we have questions on Independence Day because it's August 15th. Today happens to be August 14th, and hence this round. Okay. Piece of paper. Okay, why didn't you take this and...
Oh, okay. They have 20. They just told.
The scores are incorrect, I think.
No, he didn't give them next for the bounce.
Yeah, so that should be 25. So I think instead plus 5 was given. Yes, they also have 25.
Who's got 35?
We'll show you. They saying our score is 25.
I didn't give minus points to them. Yeah. That's it. Yep. Okay, let's go on to the written part of it. First question coming up on your screen. The first series of 4 postal stamps published by Pakistan was in July 1948, celebrating the country's Independence Day with the words "Long live Pakistan" in Urdu. What is unusual about these stamps, which you will see blanked out, commemorating that country's date with destiny, that prima facie appears erroneous, but was actually accurate? I'll give you a hint. A tradition associated with today's quiz might be a case in point. Next slide. What's blanked out there? Just give me the blank, whether it's 1 word, 2 words, 3 words, I'm not going to tell you. What's the blank? You can go back to the question, that might help you. Read the question, it might help you. What is unusual about these stamps commemorating that country's date with destiny that prima facie appears erroneous, but is actually accurate? Okay. Second question. This tower marks the site where the landmark Lahore Resolution was ratified on 23rd March 1940 at the General Session of the All India Muslim League. It was the first official declaration of the idea of a separate nation for Muslims. What proper noun is ironically missing from this resolution? The Lahore Resolution is inscribed in marble at the base of this monument in 3 languages. Okay? 2 of these are Urdu and English. Which is the third? Yes. In the Lahore Resolution, there is one proper noun that is ironically missing. So think about that. I'll have a quick glug. Right, let's move on to question 3. Playing for gold and black in August 1947, for what prized object did Lieutenant Colonel Thakur Govind Singh from India and Pakistan Army Sahibzada Yaqub Khan of the Governor General's bodyguard decide on a coin toss that was won by the Indians? What prized object? First question. Okay, just quickly cycle back. Okay, exchange papers quickly, 1 and 4. Quick. Fraud Mallus, quickly. All done?
1 second.
Not yet. Quickly. Okay, audience, here comes. You want to try the first one? The first question? Or the second one? Okay, I'll reserve the second one for you. Yes, the first one. Pardon? 15th August 1947 is what I'm looking for. That's what it is. August 15th is also fine. August 15th, okay? So in 1948, let me read this out for you. In 1948, Jinnah was persuaded to change the date from August 15th, which was Pakistan's Independence Day also, to August 14th because it coincided with Shab-e-Qadr, which is one of the holiest nights of Ramadan. And this was decided after these stamps were printed, and which is why these stamps still had 15th August 1947. Okay? So that was the answer. Well done, audience. Come up here, you can take a book. Well done. Next one, audience, let's try. There's lady here in the middle. Yes. Bangla is right. Well done. That was a googly. Well done. Ms. Shaila, you want to come up and pick a book, please? Come and pick up a book here. Ramana, can you open number 3 books? Number 3 set of books. Open it. Yeah, spread it up. Okay, so this is interesting. Here you can see the Lahore resolution and, of course, the same thing in Bengali and Urdu. What is very interesting is I couldn't find a picture of this on any Google image. So this is actually from a video, amateur video, which is shot, the screen grabs of it. And those guys are actually showing this and wondering what this language is. And someone says, I think this is the way, this is Punjabi written in an Indian language. So that is what, it's not, it is Bengali. And the reason is because, don't forget, East Pakistan was also there at that time. Okay, so that's the googly question. Right, so the third one, playing, yes. No. What was the object prized out? 1 minute, let me try the person at the back, yes. Which one? Perfect answer, come up here. The gold-plated black and gold president's buggy, which you see on Republic Day and when the president is inaugurated. Take a book from here. Okay. Well done, well done. So this was the presidential ceremonial buggy in gold and black. So that was won by a coin toss, which India won. Points, team 1 got 12 points. Team 2? 20 points to team 2. 8 points to team 3. 20 points to team 4. 12 points to team 5. 4 points to team 6. 8 points to team 7. And 16 points to team 8. Well done. Quite a wide range of scores. Okay. Right, we continue from where we left with the previous question, which was, who answered the last of the Bhagat Singhs? You answered. So, question coming to you.
But the buzzers are back.
Yes, buzzers are reset, so all of you can once again pounce. Those who already pounced can try again, okay, for this set. Team 4. Earlier attempts at recreating this... Question not yet come? Listen to me. Earlier attempts at recreating this involved the clarinet and flute, and may be heard in works like Beethoven's Pastoral Symphony and Frederick Delius's On Hearing the First Cuckoo in Spring. What controversial surprise happens next in this piece that you're going to hear, called The Pines of the Janiculum by Ottorino Respighi, from his 1924 work, Pines of Rome. Okay? This surprise was created by Karl Reich and Franz Hamp. It required an instrument called the Brunswick Pantrope. The creation is still used today in performances of this work. The second part of this question is, in what other scientific way was this creation a commercial first? Okay? Lot to unpack there, but let's take a look at the music. Okay? Something happens next. What controversial surprise happens next? And in what other way was this creation a commercial first? This is the first time this happened in the history of classical music. Okay, so no one's bouncing. Can I have the answer, team 4? What? Quick. Make a guess, no problem.
The surprise is that the piece requires the sound of thunder.
Okay.
So this instrument is used to produce the sound of thunder, which nobody would expect in a classical musical performance.
Okay, and how would that have been a first?
This is the first. This is the first Western classical commercial music to be released, which had like an
electrical appliance. Okay, passing to team 5. Is it the first commercial piece of music to have an electrical appliance?
Okay.
No problem, let's put it back in.
For the first part, we'll say that maybe after this, like an instrument started playing on its own.
Okay.
So it was a controversial surprise because nobody was actually playing it.
Okay.
So we say that this is probably the first instance of like recorded music or recorded electronic music being used in a.
Okay. All right. They said this is the first time recorded music was used, and they said an instrument was playing on its own.
So I'm going to say that the composers earlier all wanted to recreate the sound of birds or bird song, and that was what they were using with the clarinet and flute. The controversial surprise that happens here is that they play a recording of actual bird song,
okay,
which is controversial because you're supposed to create the music on site, you're not supposed to use external aids like that. So that was the bird song recording that happened. The commercial first is we're thinking maybe this was the first kind of what you might call muzak. It was basically used as background music somewhere.
Okay, that was a brilliant first answer, and that gives you 5 points. The bird song, yes.
So essentially, the people that they bought the bird songs was essentially the National Geographic Society. So it was the first sale made by the National Geographic Society.
Okay.
For the second part, we'll say this is the first instance of royalty being paid out for.
No, good try. No, not that. Royalty being paid, no. Would you like to make a guess, Suraj?
So we'll say the... pick one. Okay, so we're saying this is the first sort of commercial instance of sampling or mixing.
Mixing, no. Team 3, team 2. Rishi?
It was probably one of the first patented musical instruments or something.
Nope. Varun, that was your guess? I'm sure you can come up with many interesting...
The creation was a commercial first in that it was the first recording that was sold. Like they were pressed.
Nope, that was yours. Audience? Yes.
Maybe the first time they have trademarked for an original score for a movie or something.
Okay. So I'll come to the answer. Listen to it very carefully. Just have silence. Just listen to what happens next. Okay, so that was a sudden surprise because until then, people were normally used to, if you want to create a sound of a bird, use a flute or a clarinet. And Respiti said, let me use an actual bird sound. So the audience was actually looking around to see what was flying in the air when it happened to be a recording of it. And this is the first commercial recording of bird song. Until then, all these recordings used to take place by individual people associated with the universities and things like that for their archival purposes. So nowadays, you get recording of whale sounds and all sorts of things. This is the first time this happened. Okay, it commercially released. That is the Brunswick pantograph, which was used to create that particular recording. So this is the sound of a nightingale. Okay, well done, brilliant answer there. Round of applause for Saman for that wonderful answer. And you got yourself 5 points. And the next question comes to you, Team 7. The Latin phrase hostis humani generis is a legal term that originated in admiralty law and is associated with public international law. In 1961, the Supreme Court of a certain country redefined their suspect as a blank and a blank to justify his controversial arrest and prosecution to a global audience. The quotes are from the judgment. So whose arrest was this? And what are the two sets of blanks? The second happens to be an English translation of that Latin phrase that you see there on top. 2 has buzzed. Okay. Let me take a look. Yeah, go to the question. Yeah. So those blanks in red are the number of letters, okay? So blanks in blue are the scores. Okay, you have to give your answer quickly. Okay. Who's first part? Sure. So fast. Yeah. Okay. 10 points to Team 2 for a completely correct answer. And it's all yours, Team 7. Whose arrest?
Okay, this is the arrest of Adolf Eichmann.
Eichmann is right.
We'll say the second set of blank is something like enemy of all peoples or enemy of...
Is correct.
And for the first one, we are going to say...
So what was he labeled as, which they said is an enemy of all people? So they can grab Eichmann from anywhere in the world. So incidentally, as a Nazi, he fled to Argentina and he was picked up there by the Israelis and brought to Israel for a trial without any permission from Argentina. So they used a legal loophole to pick him up from anywhere by labeling him enemy of all mankind. Okay, so I'm going to give you, let's finish that. I'm going to give you 4 points plus 3, 7 points. Another 3 points left for that one blank on the top.
It's a pirate.
Is the right answer. Brilliant answer there. So they called him a pirate. Okay? And piracy is takes place in international waters, and any country can go and grab a pirate from anywhere. And that's why they are described as enemy of all mankind, or hostis humani generis. Okay? Well done. Beautifully worked out between Team 7 and 8. Next question to Team 1. This world-famous deadly giant wave in Hawaii's Oahu Island is a surfer favorite. What is its double-barreled name, which is 6 and 8 letters, that was given in part by post-war American servicemen who had faced similarly lethal Japanese attacks, and a surfer who thought the wave resembled a massive concrete tube at a nearby construction project? Rod Sumter, a champion surfer and a filmmaker, his footage of surfer Rory Russell, whom you see in the visual, tube riding this wave, was used in 1973 for the surfer movie called Saltwater Wine, and which other very short film. Okay? So let's take a look at the next one. Okay? You can play that video. Click next. Yeah.
It's probably one of the most, in my eyes, deadliest waves in the world. Jamie's approach is really interesting. It's very unique. When it's on, that guy's out here, and that's what it takes to be the best, I think.
I definitely think backside barrel riding has changed the game. You know, I think Kelly Slater came into it and changed it, and I think Bruce and Andy and John and myself, we just followed. You know, it was just something that with enough practice, we could take off later than anybody backside. So I think it opened up a lot of doors for backsiders.
It's redefined, I think, a lot of the way people surf waves around the world. It makes it more exciting, you know?
Okay. Text, we'll go back. Team 6 bounced and got it right, so they get 10 points. And this one's to you. Whose question is this? Team 1, okay. Yeah.
So we say the double-barreled name is Tunnel Kamikaze.
Okay.
And the very short film is the Old Spice commercials where they had the...
The second part is right. I'll give you 5 points for that. It's not Tunnel Kamikaze. Good working out. Team 2, any variations from those clues which I've written there?
We'll say tunnel torpedoes.
Not tunnel torpedoes. Team 3,
Harbor
tunnel
kamikaze.
torpedoes. Yeah.
Harbor kamikaze.
Nope.
Barrel kamikaze.
Nope, not barrel kamikazes.
Banzai pipeline.
Banzai pipeline is what I was looking for. Banzai pipeline. Okay, so you saw that fellow's long hair. Here is the Old Spice ad. Just look at him. You'll see him in the end. Okay? Play.
You'll become yourself. You'll find success. Old Spice. The classic fragrance. The mark of a man.
You can see his long hair there. Okay, it's exactly the same guy. So, Banzai Pipeline, Old Spice. So 5 points to team 5 for saying Banzai Pipeline, and 5 points to team 1 for saying Old Spice. Next question to team 6, who also got 10 points off that on the buzzer. Team 6, your question, QED. A 1911 newspaper story about a hotel in India, which you will see in the picture, that hosts the ghost of Lady Garnet, an English spiritualist who died on the premises under mysterious circumstances, inspired an Agatha Christie novel. Which one? Which hotel? Which novel? That's 3 points each. Some newer editions of this novel also include an earlier version of the penultimate chapter. The final version was suggested by her publisher, John Lane of Bodley Head. This became what signature Christie trope? So that's the hotel, okay? That's how it looked then. It's now been renovated, so that's how it looks now. This is a hotel in India. Yes, no one's bouncing.
Yeah. This is the Cecil Hotel in Shimla.
Which one?
Cecil.
Okay, Cecil.
And
okay.
the novel is The Mysterious Affair at Styles.
Is correct. 3
And
points.
the signature Christie trope is basically Poirot or any detective gathering everybody in the living room and kind of leading them through the mystery before giving them the
That is the other part, the 4 points to you there. And I'll come back for the name of the hotel.
Instead of Cecil's, we'll try Old Claridge's.
Not Old Claridge's.
The Kitchener's Hall.
Not Kitchener's Hall.
This is the Savoy Hotel in Mussoorie.
Is the right answer. This is the Savoy Hotel in Mussoorie. That's 3 points to you, Suraj, for that. So this is The Mysterious Affair at Styles, which was Agatha Christie's very first novel. And she had initially written an ending which involved a court scene with the villain being put up on the dock. But her publisher said that doesn't really work very well. Let's do something different. And he said, why don't you gather all of them into one room and the detective explains the whole thing and points out who the villain is. And that's how all this started. Okay, the famous Christie trope which you see Poirot with everyone, that was actually suggested to her by her publisher. Okay, so well done. Points to QED and points here to team 1. Next question to team 2. The pictures show steps in a certain stage of the crafting of certain membranophones of Indian classical music using a paste of boiled rice and iron oxide powder. This paste goes into the making of what visible part of these instruments that is critical to resonant sound production? What is the name given to this part in the Carnatic music instrument, which is named after one of the ingredients, and in the Hindustani equivalent, which is named because of its dark color? Okay? So there are pictures on the next slide which are helpful. These are the steps.
But like I'm not 100% sure, so obviously we can't call.
This is a certain set of Indian musical instruments. Okay? These are steps in the making of that. A certain very visible part. All of you would have seen it. Okay? Yeah, let's go back to the question. I don't think anyone's pouncing, so it's all yours. Team 2. Pounce is closed. I'll give you another 10 seconds and then come up with the answer. Yes, can I have your answer, please?
So, the visible part, this is the center black part in tabla, mridangam and all that.
The black part in the tabla and the mridangam.
The Hindustani equivalent is the syahi.
In the tabla, it's called the syahi, is right?
Maddala, mridangam.
Not in mridangam, it's not the mattala, no. Team 3. There's only one part left. What's it called in the mridangam? Because of one of the ingredients.
The irumbu.
Huh?
Irumbu.
No, not irumbu.
Some dhatu.
Not dhatu. Team 5.
Arisi.
Not arisi. First and third, Carnatic music instrument, named after one of its instruments. They said irumbu, they said arisi.
I don't know.
All is not lost.
It's called toppi, but I don't know what that is.
Okay.
I'll guess Ganji.
No.
Can you show the...
Say Ari.
No. Team 1. You can see it there. No.
Whatever is the Tamil word for iron?
So you're... What's the Tamil word for iron? Only irumbu only will come. That's yours. Audience, sadam, not arasi. He's escaped, he's run away from the stage. Arasi is just the raw rice, okay? It's the boiled rice, it's called the sadam or the soru. That's what it's called. And of course, in the tabla, it's called syahi or ink because it's dark in color. And this is a very familiar circular patch on all these instruments, okay? So, 7 points to team 2. All right, question to team 3. Reverse, and we're going to have scores now. Half the quiz is done, so let's speed up a bit. Okay, so this is what's happening. It's got a whole lot closer there. 76 BNQJ, 75 CIDs of Kerala, and in third place we have QED on 66 and the others following, not so very far away, okay? We are going to start the second half of Smartacus Seniors Quiz 2022 with the first question in the anti-clockwise round going to Team 8. Here you go. Video. This 1973 film, later made into a 2016 TV series, navigated new territory in filmmaking. What connects this scene to the visual? For what other innovation did the computer-loving author-director of this film win the 1994 Academy Award for Technical Achievement when he created a software for FilmTrack, a company that he ran? Okay, so we're going to take a look next. Let's play the video. It's mostly silent except for some sound effects. Okay. And we have the visual on the next slide. And go back to the text, please. Okay, so no one's bouncing for this, so team, yours? Okay. Okay, any guesses? Quickly.
So the second part, we'll say he created some sort of animatronics for Jurassic Park.
Okay.
And essentially, these are computer-generated images. In that scene that we saw from Westworld, some of the sequences were generated using computer animation for the first time.
Okay.
And this was also generated using...
Okay, He's struggling a bit. Oh, it's going the other way around, sorry. He said computer-generated images, and that was also a computer-generated image.
All right, what connects that scene from Westworld to the visual is that essentially what you saw was, because Yul Brynner was using thermal imaging to detect the humans, those humans go and stand under the fire, which makes them invisible because the fire is of a much higher temperature, so they're rendered invisible. This must be some spy satellite of some sort, which is using the same thing to render itself invisible. It's creating a fake thermal thing around it.
Okay.
And the other innovation that Michael Crichton came up with for the first time when he did Westworld and all was essentially the green screen, using a green screen to record people in front of it and then add
I'll
people.
pass you on that. Team 6. Westworld was right. It was Westworld, but the rest of it was not right.
Okay. We'll say the connect for the...
Yeah.
So the first part is not answered yet, no?
No.
Okay, great. So the connection from the scene to the visual is infrared imaging.
Okay.
Basically, that is a telescope that looks out into outer space and takes infrared images.
Okay.
The kind of vision that the robot in Westworld had was an infrared image. So it was kind of like mapping it according to the heat signatures that were being given out.
Okay.
And for the second part is...
So the second part is he wanted to help directors to get some kind of a raw footage which will combine with the computer graphics. So when you have Jurassic Park, there's almost nothing being shot, which will be relatable. So some kind of a mock footage which will generate and place it over the viewfinder type thing, which will create a rush.
I get what you mean, but that's not what I was looking for.
So the first part, we say the connect is simply Michael Crichton. That is Westworld, and we say this is Andromeda's Strain.
Okay. All right.
And
Okay.
second part?
Second part?
This is for being able to animate these...
Just computer graphics.
Not computer graphics or animate. Team 4.
So the first one is that in that movie, basically because of the heat interference from the heavier heat source, he's not able to see the actual less heat emitting thing.
Okay.
So that's a problem which affects satellites as well.
Okay.
They have to figure out how to cool down their imaging
And the
system.
second part?
And the other one is what is it? Something from Jurassic Park.
Okay.
For smooth.
So that scene from Westworld is the first ever use of a CGI shot in movies.
Okay.
So I will guess that the connection is that this is the first ever moving shot using CGI, and that's the first ever still, which was
and the second part?
Computer generated. And the second part, as I think Udupa said, this is Michael Crichton. He probably created the first digital software program for screenwriting. So
Okay, no. Team 2?
Yeah. So we'll say the connection is basically thermal sensing or heat sensing.
And the other part?
The other part is, this is basically the first, Michael Crichton developed the first ever computer program which would schedule for movie budgeting basically.
Perfect. That's the second part is right. So 5 points for that. So he created the first, Michael Crichton, who's the author of Jurassic Park, etc., and Westworld. He created a software for motion picture budgeting and scheduling. It would work very well in a biz quiz. And he got an Oscar for that, for technical excellence. But the first part is still open. So you still have to think. Okay?
Did they answer the first one?
No, we tried. They tried. They failed. All guesses are over. Come up with something.
You say that thing, the visual is basically a probe that is named after Michael Crichton.
No, it isn't. Okay, that was yours. Yeah. Audience, anyone? No, not right. So this film was made some years after the Mars Mariner 4 mission. And that was the first one to take images of the planet and send it back to Earth as digital images. You all may remember the famous things which used to come as numbers, and they colored the whole thing. So he was inspired by those images of the Mars Mariner, which you can see they're colored. Each thing is a little square. Okay? So Michael Crichton actually went to NASA and asked them, can you do this for the film? Because he had this idea, let's do the same pixelated kind of images that we were getting for that robot, which is being played by Yul Brynner. So NASA quoted some astonishing, some $100,000 for a second or a minute or something like that. So he said, I can't do that. So he approached someone else who did it, animation guy who did it much less. Okay? So, and he also, of course, did this famous fast track for motion picture budgeting and scheduling. But as they said, this is the first ever use of CGI in films. Okay, so that is the part of the answer. So this was inspired by the Mars Mariner images. Okay, no points for you. Okay, so no one answered that. So, you answered 5 points, correct? So question to team 1. What are these two venues respectively scheduled to host in early 2026 as part of a sporting event? The event will be the first in its specific category to have such an arrangement since the Kosovo City Stadium and Zetra Hall served the same purposes about 4 decades before. What prompted the need to have such an arrangement instead of a single venue, which was the norm? So this are the images there. It says, named in honor of a 2-time World Cup football winner. It is hosted 4 European Cup finals in those years. The second one is an amphitheater built in 30 AD. It hosts a summer festival of opera, inaugurated in 1913 to celebrate the composer's birth centenary. Go back to the question. So as I said, these sports questions are courtesy good friends. So this one is all the way from Dubai, from Ramki, and he asks you this particular question. No one has pounced, so it's all yours, team 1. Can you show the visual, please? Okay, so answer, please. Make a guess.
Can you just go back to
text? Okay, quickly.
Correct. So what are these? I think ice hockey will be the one. So one will be ice hockey, what will be the other? Is there 90?
Quickly.
So we'll say the one of these will basically host ice hockey as part of the Winter Olympics in Milan.
Okay.
And second will be figure skating for the second part.
Okay.
And what prompted the need to have such an arrangement instead of a single venue, which was the norm? Gadri will tell you.
Because stadiums will be in use for regular matches, so they cannot have ice all the time. So they
Okay.
need to
So I'll do
actually
one thing.
schedule it.
Let me do one thing. Just skip the second part. Just tell me the first part. So this question, let me just rephrase it. Just give me only one part, the top one. Yeah.
So which is just the two venues?
What are these two venues scheduled to host?
2026 Winter Olympics and Partizan Empezao.
So what will they host? Ice hockey is one.
Okay.
And figure skating.
Okay. Ice hockey and figure skating.
Opening and closing ceremony.
Is the perfect answer. The opening and closing ceremonies. Okay. Here you go. The 2026 Winter Olympics. That was the opening ceremony at San Siro and the closing ceremony at the Verona Arena. And this is the first time since Sarajevo, 1984, when the opening and closing will be held at different locations. Okay. Good. 10 points there for you, Team 8. Next question to Team 7. Here we go. The highest point, I said there's no second part. My bad. This next question. The highest point on Earth along the Tropic of Cancer is Mount Yushan, known as the Jade Mountain, in Imperial Japan's first colony. Where? The Japanese renamed it blank or blank Yama, meaning the new high mountain, when a climb placed it 176 meters higher than Mount Fujiyama. In what devastating way did its name become familiar during World War II? So the two blanks are the same, okay? We have a picture on the next slide. Yep. So which was Imperial Japan's first colony? So no pouncing happening, so it's all yours. Can you go back to the text, please? Yeah. Is yours? Okay, go ahead.
We'll say that the first colony was in Taiwan.
Is correct. 5
and
points.
the devastating way this name became familiar was this was the signal given to launch the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Mount Nitaka.
Is the answer. Perfect answer. So Yushan is known as Mount Nitaka, which means New High Mountain. And the code name which the Japanese used for bombing Pearl Harbor, which started Japan's involvement in World War II, was climbed Mount Nitaka, okay, or Nitakayama Nobore. 1208 was and December 8th, yeah. The 12/8 is December 8th, yeah. So that's the code name. So that is Mount Nitaka and happens to be the highest point on the Tropic of Cancer. Okay. Right, so all 10 points going there to Team 7. Good for you. Team 6, yours. On July 22nd, 1947, the charkha on the national flag was replaced by the Ashoka Chakra as it was associated with one political party and didn't represent progress. Aptly, who suggested this change? Another flag, which you will see on the visual, associated with a certain group, also displays a 16-spoked Dharma Chakra. While the blue and green on this flag represent heaven and earth, the wheel was added by scholar and linguist Veer Rajendra Rishi to represent movement and the Indian origins of this group. So, whose flag or what flag is this? Okay. So, 8 has bounced, so let me quickly look at what they've written. Okay, right. -5 to Team 8 and question to Team 6. We'll go to the big picture. We have a big picture on the next slide. So, right, you can go back to the text. Team 6.
for the first one, we'll say Gandhi, Mahatma.
Okay, Gandhi, Mahatma. Okay.
Mahatma Gandhi. The second one, we'll say this is the flag of the Sinhalese Buddhist clergy, basically in Sri Lanka.
Okay, team 5.
So first part we say this is this lady called Tyabji. She was
Okay.
the daughter of that Badruddin Tyabji. So
Okay.
Tyabji. The second part, these are the Romani people.
The Romani people. I'll give you 5 points for the Romani people. Who suggested this change aptly?
We'll say Birla.
Not Birla. Tyabji.
Nehru?
Not Nehru.
We'll say Pingali Venkaya.
Who?
Pingali Venkaya.
Not Pingali Venkaya. Aptly, who suggested this?
Mountbatten.
Not Mountbatten. 8. I don't think Mountbatten would have suggested this. Few pounds.
Ambedkar?
Ambedkar is what I was looking for. The Buddhist Dharma Chakra. Naturally, it is Ambedkar. And this happens to be the flag of the Romani or the Gypsy people because they keep moving around. So they had this wheel in the center as well. So that's the Gypsy or the Romani flag. It also bears the Ashoka Chakra on its surface. Okay, so nice answering there for Romani, 5 points. And you, sorry, team 5 got 5 points and team 6, 7 got another 5 points. Question back to you, team 6. According to Wahida Rehman, when this song was first shot, no concerns were raised about her appearance. However, when the song was reshot in color, as that format was becoming popular, the censor board asked for 2 of her shots to be cut as they were deemed too sexy and sensual. Gurudutt had to explain that the reason for her appearance was because of technical requirements for shooting in color. Finally, just 1 shot was cut. What difference did color make which resulted in this censor board jumping in? Okay? Yeah, there's a video.
जैसे कांधों पे बादल झुके हुए जुल्फे हैं जैसे कांधों पे बादल झुके हुए आंखें हैं जैसे महके प्याले भरे हुए मस्ती है जिसमें प्यार की तुम वो शराब हो चौदहवीं का चांद हो या आफताब हो
This is the color version.
कांधों पे बादल झुके हुए जुल्फे हैं जैसे कांधों पे बादल झुके हुए आंखें हैं जैसे महके प्याले भरे हुए मस्ती है जिसमें प्यार की तुम वो शराब हो चौदहवीं का चांद हो या आफताब हो
Okay.
Pounds close?
Who's? Anyone pouncing? All hands safely away from the buzzer, so go ahead.
Okay, so basically when you reshoot in color, you can basically see the bright red of her lipstick.
Okay.
And you can see that the lipstick is slightly smudged, as if there's some kind of like
something happened.
Animal spirits have sort of expressed themselves just before. And the vivid red of the lipstick was deemed to be sort of, too provocative or sensual. And so on.
Okay. Yes.
Something to do with how...
Give him a chocolate. Chuck, let's see how good you are. Oh. Yep.
It's something to do with how the sari became diaphanous in the color.
The sari became diaphanous in the color. No, it didn't. You were looking at the wrong thing.
Something to do with eyelashes and coal in her eyes.
No. Good try. Yes. Amazing guesswork of Varun Raji. Come on, let's see.
So we'll say that the objection was to the red lipstick, and Gurudat said that the reason for the appearance is because when you're shooting in color and the technology of the time, it had to be bright red for the cameras to pick it up in the first place.
Nope.
So basically, for the color, they had to add makeup and etc., which made the whole thing look like made it look like a courtesan or something, which is very suggestive.
Oh no, it didn't. I don't think it does. Quickly, anything?
So yeah, basically I think the objection was essentially to the fact that her, it's kind of see-through when you see it in
That's
color.
what he said, diaphanous kind of a thing.
I know.
You said it in simpler language, but still wrong.
Okay.
So we'll say these bright, shiny cloths are typically worn by...
Bright, shiny?
Cloths.
Cloths,
Were
okay.
typically worn by courtesans and...
Worn by courtesans. I thought we did the courtesan concubine thing already. No? Looks like it's passing all the way around. Unless there's one expert there in the audience, let's see what happens. So if no one gets it, we'll ask Wahida to explain it herself.
This was the first time we could see the skin tone of Wahida Rahman.
No, you couldn't. Yes.
Actually, the thing is that the censor board deemed our eyes as too sexy, so they wanted to...
Why did they deem eyes too
Cut her eyes
sexy?
out.
Why? Why were eyes looking proactive? Okay, everyone's coming closer and closer. She was not wearing black lipstick. No, it's eyes.
Benji is in front row, but he has not raised his hand.
Not the kajal. So let me ask Wahida ji herself to explain this answer. Here it is.
जब वो गाना पिक्चराइज किया गया और पूरी फिल्म ब्लैक एंड वाइट में बनी थी और फिर उस वक्त कलर का ये शुरू हो चुके थे, फिल्में बनने लगी थी कलर में, तो पिक्चर बहुत कामयाब हुई, तो उन्होंने सोचा कि कलर का वक्त शुरू हो गया है, तो ये गाना बहुत पॉपुलर हुआ है, टाइटल सॉन्ग, तो उसको दोबारा कलर में फिल्माएंगे, फिर से लगाएंगे तो और पब्लिक फिर से दोबारा देखेगी। तो उसका एक बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग इंसिडेंट है, जब वो दोबारा कलर में फिल्माया गया तो उस वक्त बहुत लाइट्स बहुत बड़ी और बहुत ये होती थी, तेज़, आंखें जल जाती थी, तो हर वक्त शॉट से पहले बर्फ़ लगाना पड़ता था आंखों पे, तो फिर उसको दोबारा फिर से सेंसर करना पड़ा गाने को, तो सेंसर बोर्ड ने कहा कि 2 शॉट हैं वहीदा के, उसको काट दीजिए, और मैं अकेली थी शॉट में, तो गुरुदत्त ने पूछा किस लिए, ये तो अकेली हैं, इसमें क्या ख़राबी क्या है, आप क्या देख रहे हैं, और जो ब्लैक एंड वाइट में मैंने शॉट लिया है हूबहू वही लिया है, कुछ मैंने नया कुछ जोड़ा नहीं है, नहीं इसमें वहीदा की आंखें बहुत लाल हैं, तो बोले जी वो लाइट इतनी तेज़ होती है तो बेचारी वो हर टेक से पहले बर्फ़ लगाती है आँखों में, तो लाल है तो इसमें ख़राबी क्या है, तो 2-4 मेंबर्स सेंसर बोर्ड के उन्होंने कहा कि वो लाली आंखों में देखने से ऐसा लगता है इट इज़ वेरी सेक्सी एंड वेरी सेंशुअल, कैन यू बिलीव दैट, तो बोले इसके लिए मैं काट दूं, मगर देखिए ये मियाँ बीवी का सीन है और हस्बैंड है साथ में, इसमें क्या बुरी बात है, नहीं इट्स वेरी नो प्लीज़ आप काट दीजिए, तो फिर कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ ये हुआ, 2 शॉट के बजाय 1 शॉट काटा गया। मैंने अभी सोचती हूँ अगर आजकल के ज़माने के वो मेंबर्स हो तो ये आजकल की पिक्चर देख के वो तो बेहोश हो जाएंगे।
Oh, that is incomparable, Wahida Rahman explaining it. Perfect, 10 points to her. I'm going to give you a prize, so please come up and pick up a book. You came very, very close to the answer. Well done, well done. Round of applause to this gentleman here. Okay. Since no one answered that, the question comes back to 6. Okay, here we go.
Written round.
Round is over. We have a written round coming up. Again, answers to the audience. So this one is called, you want paper? Okay, 1 sec. Yeah. Okay, there are not many points in this particular round because this is meant to be a fun round, okay? Nothing too serious. Okay, there are 5 questions on this. Just 2 points for each question and 1 point for a very light-hearted guess the trope. These are kinds of questions and stuff which ends up in quizzes. I know there are a bit of in-jokes. Whoever comes up with the trope, I'll ask you to explain it to the audience for those who haven't seen it, okay? So 2 points for each question and 1 point for the trope. All right? Written. On what date is the Goan dish patuleo eaten? To celebrate the Catholic feast of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Made of Goan parboiled rice, dark jaggery and grated coconut, it is wrapped in the leaf of what plant, which you'll see in the visual, that when steamed gives the patuleo its gingery and floral taste and its full name. Okay? So here is the visual. So that's the patuleo. And B is a visual. It's wrapped in the leaf of this plant. What plant is that? Move to the next one.
Can you see the text, please?
Yeah, go back once.
I think it's this.
Okay, we'll move to the next. General adaptation syndrome, a gas, describes the process of how your body responds to stress. It was identified by Hans Selye, an endocrinologist, in 1946, and initially named Selye syndrome. Selye listed these stages: 1, alarm phase; 2, stage of resistance or adaptation; and 3, stage of blank and death. Notice this list is complete. What is the word in the blank? It's derived from the Latin meaning to drain out. Okay? It's a common English word, derived from Latin to mean to drain out.
Like this, no?
So each one you write the answer to this question and what trope is being referenced. Okay.
What did you say about the trope?
Just write what is the trope here. Quizzing tropes.
Also, in each question there's
In each question there's a quizzing trope, which is also referenced in the question.
So 3 points per question.
Yes, 2 points for the question and 1 point for the trope. No. Question 3, nice and short. What is a kurta called here? Because it originates from another state. Fashionable question from West Bengal. Question 4. Who connects these 2 films based on great literary works? The visionary theatre giant died on 22nd July 2022. The second, what formation is being depicted here in the first clip? Incidentally, this is one of the videos which is shown in the very first Landmark quiz in 1988, Hemu. Hemu is here, who started Landmark. Thank you for coming. Finally, I think, Hemu, you and I are the last one standing. So there are 2 parts to this question, and there are 2 tropes in this. So write both the tropes. Okay. 2 tropes.
Bruna! I'm going to break open your disc! Your slaughter ends here!
Imam, watch where he goes.
What is the trope?
This is the second film by the same director. So who directed these two? This is the climax of the second film. Okay, so which famous director who died recently connects these two films? And what formation is being depicted in the first, the color clip? The next one?
And you said there are two tropes here.
There are two tropes. Each one is one trope, actually. Each bullet point is one trope. Okay, the last one in this list. What iconic three-word phrase originated in 1962 when this TV personality was presented with an exorbitant bill at a BBC canteen while entertaining 8 student guests? He remarked ruefully that he would much prefer his appetizers to be about 10 pounds. Next slide. That's the person on the left. This is a shot of BBC canteen.
What is the question, sir?
Focus on the person on the left. He's associated with an iconic three-word phrase originated in 1962 when he was presented with an exorbitant bill at a BBC canteen while entertaining 8 student guests. He remarked ruefully that he would much prefer his appetizers to be about 10 pounds. We'll just quickly move back to one and then...
I missed this completely.
Okay, the second one.
Last question, please.
Question 1.
Text.
What is it? Some
Text
three-word
of question
phrase,
1.
And he was presented on huge bill.
Just date
He
and
wanted he would have preferred
the leaf.
appetizers to be 10 pounds.
Question 2 is just a blank. Four.
Is there some googly? What are the other tropes? Googly is a trope.
And 5.
Googly, TCQ.
Okay. We can exchange.
Rewrite today.
Write the
Last
trope.
one, please.
For each question, you have to write the trope, no? So your trope should match my trope, okay? So that's important. What's on this card is what matters. That's Quizmaster's decision is final. No? These are kind of phrases or tropes associated with Indian cuisine and some of it with landmark cuisine as well. So, okay, let's exchange. All done? Audience, here it comes. Exchanged?
2 plus 1.
Okay, good to go? All right. Yeah. Audience, here comes the first one.
University challenge.
So I'm going to ask the audience only for the answer to the question, and I'm going to ask you guys for the trope, and whoever answers it, please explain. Okay? Right. First one. August 15th and turmeric. And this is the Independence Day question or August 15th question.
First question in landmark quiz.
Huh? No, it isn't. It's genuine.
Landmark quiz on Independence Day.
Okay, fine, fine.
So what is this? 1 plus 1 plus 1, no? 2.
Yes. No, 3 points. So August 15th is 1 point. Turmeric is 1 point. And the trope being August 15th or a landmark kind of opening question is that. Okay? Right. The next one.
Exhaustion.
Yes, exhaustion is what I'm looking for. And a common description. Can someone explain what is?
Is it exhaustive?
Yeah.
Is
What
the
does that
theme
mean?
exhaustive? Basically, are all the items in a set present on the screen?
Ah, yes. So that now commonly occurs in connect questions, in which it's only 5 out of 15, and people will ask, is this the entire thing, the full thing or not? And quizzers normally end up asking that. So is this list exhaustive? So the answer itself happens to be exhaustion. Next one. What is this kurta called? Cole styles is right. Explain Cole styles. Anushtup Datta, will you please explain what Cole styles is?
Am I an expert?
Yes.
Basically, a very short question with no workoutable clues.
That's it. That's a Cole styles question. Apologies to Calcutta quizzing. Next one. Okay. Who connects these two? Yes? Peterbrook and Chakravyuh is right. And what are the tropes? The Peter question, yes, which is basically Peter stands for repeater. And the other part? Okay, that's a TCQ is right. The typical Chennai question, which I explained at the beginning. Someone died recently, it features in the landmark quiz. Okay?
So is the...
1 point each you give for this to make it easy. Yeah, 4 points, 4 points. Okay? Huh? Chakravyuh, Peterbrook, TCQ, and Peter. No, no, no. That is not accepted because I didn't know about
So total
that.
4 points.
Right. Next question. Starter for 10 is right, and this trope is? No. No. I'm actually very impressed with this since none of you have got it. Next. This is the kitchen question because I completely made this up. It's wrong. Please don't go asking this question anywhere else. Okay.
This is 2 points, is it?
So kitchen, appetizers, so I thought everything fits in very, very well with this. So, okay. So, we are going to take a quick look at the scores, if that is possible. Scores for this round. Team 1. 9 points to Team 1. 9 points to Team 2. 10 points to Team 3. 12 points to Team 4. 11 points to Team 5. 11 to Team 6. 9 to 7. And 8 to Team 8. Okay. I'll tell you what, Vinit, you keep it ready. I'll ask one more question and then you can enter it. Okay. Who answered the previous one? QED. Okay. QED, question 21. This is the last 10 questions of the quiz, barring a quick buzzer, a frantic buzzer to the end. Yes. 1960 Nobel Prize for Medicine and Physiology. Can we have the slide, please? Yes. Went to which scientist for his discovery of acquired immunological tolerance? It became the foundation of our current understanding of organ transplants and rejection, which you'll see in Visuals 1. In 1974, William Summerlin at the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer received much acclaim after announcing that he could transplant tissue from unrelated animals by keeping the tissue in a culture for 4 to 6 weeks. This, however, turned out to be a notorious alternate fact. What term, 3 words, alluding to the manner in which the results were achieved, is a synonym for research fraud? So next slide. So what this Nobel Prize winner whom you see here in set of Visuals 1 is, he transplanted some cells, say from that black mouse on the top to the white mouse when it was an embryo, and when the white mouse grew to an adult size, if he transplanted a bit of skin from the black one to the white one, it would get accepted because the white one is used to the cells for the black one. Okay? So that is a very important concept in our understanding of immunological tolerance. Who was that Nobel Prize winner? Our whole basis of organ transplant and rejection comes from his work. The other guy is a fraud American.
What's 3-word thing for what I'm saying?
He did some kitchen stuff, and there is a clue there. If you go to the visual, yes. So this is an accurate clue, I can tell you that. This little map that you see here is an accurate clue.
It need not be this. Huh? He did this on this.
You can see William Summerlin doing something. Yes.
When did this Dorian happen? Was it during his presidency?
So no one is bouncing, so it's all yours, team 6.
Then it is this one. Is there something like Sharpie the numbers or something like that? Sharpie the facts.
Okay. Go back to the text. Yeah.
First one is just a scientist. I have no idea.
Yes, team 6. Go ahead.
Okay, so for the term we'll say is fitting the curve. Basically, you kind of like there's data and you want
fitting
to
the curve.
graph it.
The Nobel Prize winner is?
We can say Peter Medawar.
Is the right answer. That is Peter Medawar. That gives you 4 points for that. And the remaining 6 points still going for that term. Brilliant answer, Peter Medawar. Round of applause there to Samant. Good one.
Second one is fudging with the degree of tolerance.
No. Team 4.
So something like sharpening the numbers or sharpening the facts using
Sharpening
a Sharpie.
the numbers. Okay.
Sharpie, yeah.
Nice one.
Fudging the numbers, fudging the data.
Nope. Team 2, quickly.
Cushioning the numbers.
No.
So I'll say this is like some variant of science by Sharpie.
Science by Sharpie, some variation of that. All of you are kind of there.
Say ideal case scenario.
Not ideal case scenario, no. Team 7.
Cooking the numbers.
Cooking the numbers. Audience, yes? Not connecting the dots. What do you think he was doing? So what Samalin was trying to do
He
was...
coloring the mice basically.
Exactly, that is the answer. He was
that's what you
painting,
wanted.
he was painting the mice, and that is what we were looking for. So he was creating black patches of the mice as if they were the transplanted areas. And a lab guy found that the spots had changed from yesterday to today and said he's used something else and found he was coloring the mice, which is exactly what Trump did. Okay? That is Trump's addition, which you see there. Okay, to Hurricane Dorian. So 4 points to Team 6. And audience, who answered the painting the mice? You answered it, Suraj. Sorry, but that was non-comp. Next, scores are ready. Let's take a quick look. We have another 10 minutes more to go. Can we see the scores?
No, buck up.
All right, so 86 BMQJ, 89 CIDs from Kerala, 86, and then we have 81 QED. So all very, very close, and we still have a couple of questions to go. We'll revisit these scores in a while. Question to Team 5. What is the name of the modern Korean writing system that was created by King Sejong the Great in 1443 to increase literacy in his country? Until then, the complicated logographic Sino-Korean Hanja and the classical Chinese was used by the elite few. Considering his aim, what inspired the shapes of the 5 basic consonants that you see there? No one's bouncing, so you can go ahead.
Yes. Yeah? So should we answer?
Yeah, go.
The first part is Hangul.
Yes,
the
correct.
second part is essentially, he's trying to mimic the shape based on what the shape the tongue and the mouth makes. The shape when tongue is touching the top of the roof and, you know.
When you're saying that particular. Perfect answer. Brilliant answering there by Srinath. Well done, Srinath. Let's look at the answer. So the letter shapes reflect the shape of the speech organs used to pronounce those letters. So for example, the first one, you have the tongue touching the back of the roof, the tongue touching the teeth in the front, then you have the dental, which is the shape of the tooth, you have the shape of the lips, and finally you have the shape of the throat. Okay? So that's how he created these 5 consonants. It is called Hangul. Brilliant answering there. 10 points to you, Team 5. Team 4, your question. Videos. With respect to cinematographic hardware, how would one specifically connect these 2 clips that you're going to see? The first clip is a behind-the-scenes footage. It's just shown as an example. The second is specific.
Make it not possibility if we get like.
There won't be any sound here, don't worry.
Play the moment with Dad and just reload it for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there'll be the first moment with the splitting.
Go ahead, Adam. Here comes the biscuit. How you doing, Red? Georgie? You guys all right? There you go, boy. There it is. Have a nice ride, Johnny. Come on, Pops.
Okay. With respect to cinematographic hardware, how would one specifically connect these two clips? The first is behind the scenes, it's generic, but the second one is very specific. Specific to the film, okay? This is a question to whom?
Specific to the film.
Specific to the film. I think team 4, yes. Specific to the film. I need an explanation. A very, yeah, something.
The
No one's bouncing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think perhaps the device is called a Seabiscuit, which runs along with, when you have to show a vehicle in motion, it comes.
Okay.
And it was first done to tape Seabiscuit running.
And therefore, what did you say in the beginning?
This device contraption is called a Seabiscuit.
Is the right answer. Brilliant answer there. So actually, the device used nowadays to shoot car scenes and chases is called the biscuit.
I'm going to have to be able to film Toby seeming to be on a racehorse, interacting with the jockeys around him, often having dialogue. All those things require an intimacy. I have to get the camera here. I asked Michael Lantieri to see if he could commission a vehicle for me. Basically, a flatbed camera platform that could move around the track so I could put Toby in the context of other horses around him, as well as the grandstand, the world whizzing by, and really put him in the environment.
These are two equicizers. I took them all apart, rebuilt the frames, put motors on them, and sculpted thoroughbred heads to put on them so we could have lifelike horses that would go down a track. It has all the controls for every aspect of the horses. It can run the horses forwards and backwards, put them together for a bump or an inquiry, make their heads change speed.
I've been dying to do that all week.
We put the entire crew on here and go for the ride, and because it's built like an aircraft carrier, we call it the SSC Biscuit.
Oops, there's my hole. Gotta go. Ah!
Okay, so that entire rig is called the biscuit rig, named because it was first used or made for the film Seabiscuit, and that's what is used for shooting car chases. Okay, wonderful answer there from Mr. Ravi Mundoli. Give him a biscuit. Is there a biscuit there? Let's give him one. Don't throw. A biscuit for a completely unrigged answer there. Well done. Okay, question to team 3. The Codcast is an online series of interview-based talk shows about celebrating the cool side of which set of people who can be highly creative. It was created by internet broadcaster Sean Douglas after meeting others like him whose stories touched, inspired, and angered him. While their logo visually refers to its name, it also references a quote which is attributed to a famous scientist who belonged to this set of people. Who is that scientist and what is the quote the logo also references? Okay, something he's supposed to have said. So let's take a quick look at the picture and then get back to this text. Okay? Move back to the text. Okay? Your question? No one's bouncing, so go ahead.
There's something about time going very slow in fishing. Is there some such quote? No, no.
Quickly.
That is about talking to a woman and then something else.
See, the set
Lots of points, so go ahead.
See, the set of people are dyslexics.
We'll give you 3 points. Dyslexics.
The scientist is Einstein.
Is also correct. Another 3 points.
And the quote was something along the lines of, because he was talking about time and the fact that a fish doesn't need a wristwatch or like doesn't need to know the time or something.
A fish
doesn't need a wristwatch or doesn't need to know what the time is. Something.
Doesn't need to know what the time is.
Or like a fish won't wear a wristwatch.
No, let me go there. So 6 points there, Vinid. What is that famous quote which this logo also references? You were kind of there, but not quite. You were in the region.
The fish probably doesn't know which direction it's swimming, or...
Okay, no?
Something like a fish can't hear a wristwatch tick.
No. No need to get so specific into the visual.
Teach a man fishing and you give him food for
no,
lifetime.
not that one.
Nothing to do with fish, but the famous Einstein quote about time, while explaining relativity, talks about how time passes differently if you're sitting next to your girlfriend versus how if you're sitting on next to some boring
No,
person
that
or
wouldn't
something.
apply here. Team 6, passing. Team 5?
Passing fish.
Passing. Audience, anyone? Yes. One sec. 4. Passing, yes. Exactly, brilliant answer. Please come up here. Please come up. So this is the quote, everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid. Please take a book for that wonderful answer there from the audience. Brilliant answer. So this is the usual fish tree quote that is used when describing dyslexic and their issues. Okay? Lovely answer there. And who said dyslexics? I think you said dyslexics, so you get points for that. And Einstein is at 6, yeah. Team 2, your question. Designed by William Traveller, this is one of Marilyn Monroe's iconic dresses worn briefly in the film Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. What material, meaning metal plate in French, is this that weaves fabric and metallic threads? And in which Olympic sport is this fabric a mandatory part of the uniform and why? Okay, 3 parts. So someone has bounced. Team 5 has bounced. And they have written, okay. 10 points to Team 5 for that. Fully correct answer. Team 2. Visual, okay, yes, there's a visual on the next slide. Yes, Team 5?
This is sequin for the first part.
Sequin, okay.
And this is used in fencing to basically make sure hits are registered.
Why? How does it work?
Because it's
Because it's conductive, okay. So you will get 3 plus 3 for saying fencing and it's conductive, 6 points, but that's not sequence.
Mail.
Mail, M-A? I-L, no?
Cuirass.
No?
Lame.
Lame is what I was looking for. I thought you were almost giving a kind of an anagram of that. No. Lame, can we have the answers, please? So this fabric, because it's made of metal and fabric, it's electrically conductive. And you can see the wires there behind fences because every time you touch the other person's dress, the lame dress, it scores a point. So that's how points are scored in fencing. And all fencers have to wear this lame vest on top of whatever else that they're wearing. Okay? So the costume is very, very important. Well done. That's nice answering there. Point shared. Team 7, Team 6, you got the rest of it. 7. Team 6, your question. One type of medieval Chinese fortress is called the blank fortress. It features distinctive pleated bastions. I'll show you pictures of that. Stairs on either side, front and back entrances for cavalry, which gives these fortresses their name. What did the design of these fortresses inspire sometime during the Song dynasty? And this in turn inspired what recent Christian iconic silhouette? So take a look at those pictures. So you can see those things sticking out, those bastions. Okay? So that's a very distinctive feature of these kinds of fortresses in China. What you see in this image is something inspired by the look of those fortresses, and that description of the fortress helps. Okay? Let's go back to the text. Stairs on either side and front and back entrances for cavalry. And that gave these fortresses their name, the fact that it involved cavalry. So no one's pouncing, so Team 6, it's all yours. Five points for each. This is current affairs. No, you can't pounce. Pounce is over. Yes.
Okay, so we'll say this inspired the shape of the knight in chess.
Okay.
Because these are horse fortresses, I guess, or knights
Okay.
fortresses. And in turn, so this inspired in quotes means it's like an alternative fact.
Yep.
Oh, I see.
Not an alternative fact.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's like Bappi Lahiri inspirations.
Sorry?
Like Bappi Lahiri inspirations.
Oh, okay, okay. We'll say
This is being live streamed. Apologies to Bappi Lahiri. Can never tell.
We'll say there's maybe the Christian Louboutin line of shoes, either the logo or the color or something.
Okay, passing.
The red.
Nope.
The first one is saying the red lanterns during the Song dynasty.
Okay.
And the second way is saying the design of the
red
bishop.
color on the sole of Louboutin shoes.
No, that's what they said. You want to see the pictures? Show the visuals.
What did they say?
They said the Louboutin, red. The red, no? You mentioned the red. What did you say for the first part? Red lanterns. Sorry, red lanterns.
Someone say for the first one?
Someone said chess piece.
What did you say? Oh, the body armor that they wear on horseback, cavalry.
No, that's not that. Body armor, no. Team 3, quickly. You had enough time, so
They don't want the blank. They don't want the blank. Do you want the blank? You don't want the blank.
go back to the
What
text.
did it inspire us all they wanted during the Song dynasty?
Yes, quickly.
Is it the design inspired the rook chess piece?
Nope, it didn't.
And hey, second part. Is it
Another part?
closed? Second part's closed.
Nothing is closed.
Huh. The iconic silhouette is the dress worn by Kim Kardashian.
Nope. Good try.
We'll say the first part is the Great Wall. The Great Wall. Second part, we'll say this is the Batman symbol.
No, it isn't. Team 1.
This is a born again.
Quickly. Run out of ideas? Okay, passing. Prudent. Team 8. Passing. Team 7.
The second part, we'll say it inspired the shape of the Reykjavik Cathedral. And
okay.
The first part
defeats you.
Some character in the Chinese language, maybe.
Okay, let me go to the audience. Anyone? Which one? Which one? Yes. Yes. No? Anyone else? Okay. So this was a recent controversy which embroiled the whole of China by Christian Dior. They came up with this dress here. Okay. This is actually an old classical Chinese dress called the Mamian Chun or the Mamian dress, because the shape of the dress, which has pleats on the side and the front and back are open so that you could sit on a horse. Okay? So that's why it was called a horse-faced skirt. That's what it's called. Mamian Chun is a horse-faced skirt. And it was named after the shape of these fortresses. It took its design from the shape of the fortresses. And Christian Dior just copied it and called it their iconic signature brand or design or something like that, which it wasn't. And that was a whole lot of stuff in the news recently. So that's a bit of current affairs. No one answered that. Question back to you. What is this dance that gets its name from the wind instrument that provides its sole hypnotic musical foundation? While it is celebrated as the king of folk dances in other Western and Central Indian indigenous communities, with which tribe, better known in another context, would one most commonly associate this artistic dance with its trance-like spiral formation and the central lone musician? Take a look at the video. Okay, I'll take a look at team one. Can we have a quick look at the scores after this one? Yeah. Perfect answer from team one. Well done. 10 points to you. Very, very important at this stage of the quiz. Team six. Any guesses?
We'll say this is it's called like a Nag Nach or something. It's like named after the snake, because that is like a snake charmer's thing. And the tribe we'll say is the Warli tribe.
Okay, we'll give you a point for saying the Warli tribe. 5 points.
Pungi.
Not Pungi. 5 points, yeah.
Bean.
Not Bean. Hawaii. No, that's no. I'll pass quickly on that. Team two. Passing? Team one? Oh, you aren't bounced, yes. Team eight? Team seven?
Around.
Okay, that was team six. Yes. The Tarpa dance, and why would you say Warli? Exactly. If you see Warli paintings, you will actually see this whole thing there with the central figure of the Tarpa musician right in the middle. Okay? We've all seen this, you never really noticed what it's all about until you go and read a little bit about it, but that's what quizzing is all about. So, brilliantly answered there. Someone pulled it out of somewhere, and the rest of it went Arun Ramanath. Arun, please come up and pick up a book. That deserves a prize. Okay, we're going to take a quick look at the scores, and oh my goodness. So 95 CIDs, 92 positions changing, and QED on 86. Okay, so
How many?
yes. All right. We are going to have a buzzer round now. Okay? It's called You Mess, You Miss. Okay? So just like those two words, mess and miss, you have to come up with 8 word pairs that differ just by one letter. Each word is represented by a visual clue. Okay? So you see 2 pictures. +3 for a correct answer. -3 if you buzz and you get it wrong, and no part answers. You can't just identify one visual and leave off the other one. It just closes there. Yes, it just closes there.
So it's only one try.
It's only one try. Okay? So I'm going to show the first one. Audience, Trump and Tramp. Can we click, Ramana, can you click the little button at the bottom? Ramana, can you click the button at the bottom? Yeah. Yep, so that's how this works. Fingers on the buzzers for the next one. Team 2, quickly.
Hydrogen, hydrangea.
No, that's too many different letters. Audience? No, it's over. Proton and croton is what I was looking for. -3 to team 2.
Arc and Ock.
Arc and Ock +3 to team 2. Team 2 and team 2. Okay, so that was Schindler's Ark is the name of the book. Okay, not Schindler's List. Next one, ready? Team 4.
Manama, Panama.
Panama and Manama is right. Well done. Ennamma answer. Ready? Next one. Team 7.
Lauda, Fauda.
Lauda and Fauda. That's good. Team 7. Team 5.
Prada, Prado.
Prada and Prado. That's the famous painting at the Prado. And that's The Devil Wears Prada. Next one. Team 2.
LBJ and LBD.
Is right answer. LBD, the little black dress, and LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson. Team 6. Quickly. Saturn and Soren. No. Audience? Saturn is right. Saturn, and that is a satin stitch, and you can see the satin material at the back as well. -3 to team 6. The last one, team 2.
Dimple, simple.
Dimple and simple is right. Although I could have just shown one picture for both of them, as dimple and simple. Okay, and we'll have 3 questions left for this quiz. And we'll take a little time to tot up those scores. And I just wanted to thank a couple of people. I'd like to thank, although he didn't want me to mention his name, Avinash Mudaliar from HD School.
9 plus
Thomas, where are you? Where is Thomas Abraham? Ah, there you are, Thomas, right at the back of Hachette India, who was my quizzing partner in college days. So thank you, Thomas, for everything. And from Quiz Foundation, most notably, a lot of people have worked today to bring this together, most notably Raju, who helped with a lot of the registrations, and Devi Prasad, who did a lot of running around and organizing the prizes, etc. And all the members of QFI for that. For Anil and Ramki, who contributed quite a few of the sports questions, except Lame, which was mine. And that's about it. So let's take a look at the scores. Thank you all for coming. We hope to do this every August 15th. Okay, so do come back next time. Okay, CIDs have breached the century with 101, BMQJ on 92, Traveling Pillsbury's on 95. 3 questions left for this quiz. And where shall we start from? The answer, yeah. Team 5, your question. This Darshan Sthal, with binoculars donated by the BSF, was opened in 2008 to view one of Sikhism's holy sites across the border. After serving millions for 11 years, it was brought down to make way for an actual visa-free border crossing inaugurated by the President Imran Khan on 9th November 2019, just before the 550th anniversary of Guru Nanak. What is the religious significance of this place that you see in the picture? The date chosen for the inauguration of this corridor was actually the anniversary of which turning point in 20th century history? Let's take a look at the pictures. Okay. So that is a Darshan Sthal, those set of 3 pictures that you see there on your left. And this is the place that they are trying to look at through those binoculars, which is on the right. So I'll stay with this picture for a bit, and then we'll move on to the text. Text. Yeah, thank you. No one's bounced, so it's all yours. Team 5. Let me see. Yep. Yes.
So the turning point in 20th century history is the Berlin Wall coming down.
Is right, yes.
And the religious significance, the place is Kartarpur, is obviously of religious significance to the Sikhs. For Guru Nanak, he died there.
Is absolutely right. Brilliant answer there. Everything was right, Rajiv. You pulled it all out. This is the answer. This is Kartarpur, one of the 3 or 4 places which is very important for the Sikhs. This is where Guru Nanak spent his last days and he died. 9th November 2019 is the 30th anniversary of an opening of another big border, which was the fall of the Berlin Wall, and which is why the date was chosen in well done, beautifully worked out. Applause there to Team 5. 10 points to you. Second last question of this quiz, but I think we looked at the scores already. So we look at it before the last question, right? Team 4, here's yours. These xerophytic flowering bushes are native to the western Himalayas from the Pamir in Central Asia to Kashmir, Tibet and Afghanistan. Similar in appearance to the poppies of World War I battles, these flowers memorialize martyrs of the Indian Army from Tololing Nalla to Dras River to Yaldur Junk Lungan Nallas in Batalik and the Galwan River in eastern Ladakh. What is the common name of these flowers? In what way are these flowers particularly appropriate to the geography of Operation Meghdut? Yep. What is the common name of these flowers? Okay. It's a bit of a misnomer, but okay. Yeah. Yep, go ahead, no one's bouncing.
We will say that the common name is a misnomer because it's called the Himalayan rose.
Okay.
Something like that. And appropriate to the geography, Operation Meghdut was the operation to occupy Siachen. Maybe the name of this flower in Tibetan is Siachen. Or
the name of this flower
is Siachen. It grows in Siachen.
I'll give it to you. This is the Himalayan rose or the Webb's rose as it's specifically known. Siachen in the Balti language just means abundance of roses, and that's why this is very particular and appropriate to Operation Meghdut. And you can see these flowers at the Siachen base camp as well. Good 10 points here. Last question of Spartacus Seniors 2022 quiz coming up. But before that, let's see what's the scores. Right, so now Traveling Pillsbury's takes the lead with 105. CIDs in Kerala with 101 in second place. And then we have a little bit of a distance with 85 Fraud Mallus. So there is a battle for the first place. And the question coming to Team 3. Last question. In 2006, the large billed reed warbler, described as the world's least known bird, was spotted again in Thailand after 139 years of being extinct. How was the identity of this bird confirmed with the help of the Natural History Museum in Britain? And who was instrumental to the certification by virtue of a certain donation he made in 1885? And this happens to be the largest single donation of its kind made to this museum. Okay? So Team 6 has bounced. $10 points to Team 6 for that right answer. Team 3.
We'll say that the second, the person is Darwin.
Darwin, okay.
And so the Natural History Museum has a collection of specimens that go back 150, 200 years, because the only way that they could check whether this bird was the same as what was last seen 139 years ago is to compare it to something from 139 years ago.
And how do you think they compared it nowadays?
So that collection has the samples, as in, what do you call them, like the preserved,
Okay.
like Darwin's finches.
So what
and
did they do?
whatnot. So they like DNA and whatnot, like extracted it from the
DNA analysis with a sample there. There was one single sample left in the in the Natural History Museum in Britain. They compared it to that, so I will give you points for that. The second part is still missing. It's not Darwin. So who made the largest single contribution of this kind?
We'll say this is A.O. Hume.
A.O. Hume is absolutely right. The founder of the Indian National Congress, Alan Octavian Hume, was a famed bird collector and ornithologist, and his entire samples went to the British Natural History Museum, and that is Hume's specimen of the warbler, and they did a DNA analysis, and that's how Hume identified this bird. I think it's appropriate to remember Hume in the context of the Indian national movement and 75 years of freedom. Thank you all for taking part in this quiz. Before that, we have a final look at the scores, and a big round of applause to our scorekeeper here, Vinay. Please stand up and look that side. And Mr. V.V. Ramanan, stand up. Thank you for helping me out always. So, finally, I think we had about 70 or 80 teams taking part today. So, I think we should give a round of applause to Zulfikar A. Fidel with 60, ROTF with 62, Maris like this only with 66, and then we had 85 fraud Mallus here, 93 QED, 97, and coming third in this quiz is BMQJ, who pulled out a whole lot of guesses. But on the very last question, and winning this quiz by 1 point from traveling Pillsburys all the way from Bombay, who got 105 points, but the winners with 106 CRDs from Kerala. I think this is the second time you're winning with 1 point. Well done. And all that remains for me is to thank you all for being here. And if you could just stay on for a few minutes, I'd like to invite Thomas to come up on stage. Thomas, are you there? Yeah, please come up. Round of applause to Thomas, head of Hachette, one of our sponsors, to give away the prizes and to contributed a very thoughtful selection of all these wonderful books. I remember one quiz, I think someone got, I think Devi Prasad said he got a book very tantalizingly titled Hot Stuff, which turned out to be a book on thermodynamics. So Thomas has done a great job. Thank you, Thomas. And can we have a mic, please? DP, Devi, are you here? Can we help out with the prizes, please? Yeah, a few words. Few words from you, Thomas.
Thanks, Naveen, and great to be reunited again for the second time. Landmark was the first. So Naveen and I, we finished runners-up at the North Star 84, losing to his mother, who was in Motley Crue there. So that's a moment I will never ever forget. But it's wonderful to see so many quiz veterans back. I know only Samant, of course, and quite a few. A lot of the names, of course, I've seen in past landmark quizzes. Fabulous to be there. Anyway, I'm not much in long speeches, but I just hope the quizzing thing goes on. And I'm glad you enjoy the books, because that's something that quizzers do, like one hopes that you still read. But one quick question to all the teams from the Jane Austen question. Could you tell me what the imprint was? You saw those various first editions. No, Hachette is the group. Hachette is a French group. They own this thing, but that's the oldest publishing company in the world. So that's the quiz question that you just saw. It is a Hachette company. Sorry? No. No. So it's the same company that published Charles Darwin, if you want to know. If that's any clue. Absolutely. Whoever you are, you will get 5 books from us.
One more book.
Thank you. And that's all I have to say. I hope we will see you again here next year, bigger and better. Thanks, Naveen, so much.
So can we have let's give prizes to the teams that also took part in the finals. So let me start with Zulfikar Fidel. Team 1, please come up. So you get Amazon gift vouchers for 2,000 rupees, but you have to share it with yourselves, okay? Come, take a picture in the middle. Thank you. The other runners-up are, I think, Team 3, Team 4. Fraud Mallus on Team 4, Gopal Kidao, Ravi Mundoli, and Apu. You can do some GPay between yourselves and keep the rest. Round of applause to Fraud Mallus. And we also have prizes this side. QED, please come up. QED. QED had a bit of a rough night today, but despite some amazing answers, Samanth Subramaniam, Swami, and Jaikantan. Thank you. Team 7, what is the team name? Maris like this only. A new avatar of VR like this only. Come, Raju. This is Raju from QFI who helped me so much for organizing this quiz. Udupa and Anustup Datta. This is for them. And finally, Team 8, who did a lot of remembering today. Remembrance of things fast.
Not fast enough.
Who's being mean and saying not fast enough? This is for you. In third place, BMQJ, please come up. Amazing guessing there by Varun Rajiv, ably assisted by Goch and CR. Each of you get 2,000 rupees as gift vouchers, so one for each of them. That's good. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Come, stand. Yes. And also these books from Hachette, so you can please give it over to him and you can share. Okay, thank you. In second place, just missing by a point. Come. Traveling Pillsbury's all the way from Bombay. 3,000 rupees. Greenway. Here you go. This is for you. Here you go. Yes. And of course, this little gift hamper of books. This is a nice collection you can pick from. And the winners of the Smartacus Seniors 2022 quiz, once again on a hair's breadth, CIDs from Kerala, 5,000 rupees each as gift vouchers. And you can hold on to this big hamper of books as well. Come to the middle. Come in. Thank you all very much for being here and hope to see you again on August 15th, 2023. Thank you. Good night and goodbye.